Hey, I'm Jim Weber in the Fox 13 Weather Center. Thanks for logging on to myfoxhurricane.com. So we continue to watch all the different data coming in as far as the computer models, the data coming back from the aircraft reconnaissance flights, which are basically going non-stop inside of Irma. We're plugging all this information into all the different various computer models, and we're getting better agreement among these models. There's still going to be those little fluctuations, so this is by no means set in stone. This can be a very fluid situation as we continue to go through the next several days. So remember, keep checking back. Things are going to change. You have to keep updated with this. Big thing is, do not panic. You just continue to take it as it goes, and we'll deal with it. And there's still plenty of time to prepare for what may or could eventually happen with Irma. But here it is, the very latest, and now the winds as of the 11 o'clock advisory are now up to 180 miles an hour. A very dangerous hurricane, Category 5. And you look at this satellite presentation, just from a scientific standpoint, this is just a perfect looking hurricane. It is just a very ominous view looking at this heading towards these islands, which is going to definitely cause some huge problems across some of these islands, especially some of the northern islands, the Virgin Islands, right through here as well. So you got to watch this in the short term. Doesn't look like it'll be a direct hit, but it's going to be close enough that it will certainly cause some large damage across portions of these islands. So here is the 11 a.m. advisory: 16.8 degrees north, 58.4 degrees west. Top winds right now are at 180 miles an hour. It is currently moving to the west at 14 miles an hour. You can see how low that pressure is, 931 millibars, and it's currently sitting 225 miles to the east of Antigua. So it looks like it'll work its way through those northern islands as we head through tomorrow and into Wednesday. And you do see some fluctuations in that intensity. The big thing that will affect the fluctuation is those eyewall replacement cycles with this. It's not going to move over enough land to really affect its intensity. It's just when you get a hurricane this strong, they can't maintain that intensity. They are constantly fluctuating. So basically about the only thing we can hope for is to see some fluctuations of an intensity that would drop it as it is moving over some of these populated areas. Then as we head through the weekend and into Sunday, that's where we're watching, and we're watching for that eventual turn. Will this turn a bit earlier and head up to the eastern side of the state, maybe even more towards the east, or will it continue out into the Gulf of Mexico? All these scenarios are still in play, because notice we've got the cone. We do not need to focus on that center line. Remember, we have learned that in the past, that this system could just as easily be on the eastern side of the state as it could go out into the Gulf of Mexico. So that will kind of come into more of a focus as we go through the next several days. So really, what is the overall steering of this system? So we've got the trough, which is digging down into the eastern U.S. How strong will that be, and how quickly will that lift back out? Because the computer models are showing that's going to come in, but then just as quickly as it comes in, it's going to lift back out, so it may not help to pick this storm up and turn it quicker. And then you also have this ridge of high pressure that as this trough moves out, this high is going to start to reestablish itself. Now, if that happens quicker, that's going to tend to make it follow more of a track like this, more towards the west. If it happens not as quick as far as that high reestablishing itself, it's going to allow this system to move more towards the east. That's what these different computer models are really trying to figure out, and we're seeing from run to run. One of them moves a little bit further to the west, one a little further to the right, to the east. But you can see in the short term, we've got very good agreement. You can see just a few miles difference between all the different members and all these different computer models. And in this particular run of the models, we're starting to see more of a focus more towards the eastern side of the state. Now, overnight, we are seeing maybe more towards the west. So what is it going to do? Well, we still don't know at this point. We're still talking about 6-7 days from now. So we will continue to fine-tune these models, and this will get more and more accurate. We're going to start to see even more consensus from run to run, from model to model, among these models. That's what we have to watch for. Now, we look at some of the very reliable models, the European, the GFS. Those are our main computer models. And again, you're seeing that very good agreement among these models in the short term, but then you can see by Sunday we're already seeing that difference. The GFS starting to take more of that turn more towards the north, and then the European, this is actually an older run. They are currently running this model as we speak, and so we'll get more information as the day goes on with the European. But what you're seeing is the European wants to take it more towards the western side of the state, and the GFS is more towards the right. Now, as we get that next run of the European in, we'll start to get more and more of an idea of just how that model feels. But at this point, it's one of these things. You have to wait and see. You do want to be reviewing those hurricane plans with your family to get prepared for if we go ahead and we need those plans. And we'll keep you updated right here on myfoxhurricane.com.